Welcome to another episode of Riding and Wrenching. I am your host, Q the Rider. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about leaking saddlebags. Not because I have them, but because I just installed a new sound system in my bike. Thanks to the folks at Volunteer Audio, I now have the Soundstream HD HU14 Plus head unit in my Road Glide. I also added an amplifier. I replaced both speakers in a fairing with speakers from Precision Power. Also replaced the speakers in my Tour Pack with Precision Power speakers. But again, that's not what this video is about. It's about the speakers that I added to my saddlebags. Now, I installed these myself. I cut the saddlebag, installed the speakers, and the whole 9 yards. It sounds amazing. So when I showed it to my friends, I got a lot of comments and concerns that I'm gonna have leaking saddlebags. So I decided to put this video together to help you out. If you're somebody who's thinking about adding saddlebag speakers, I'm gonna show you that yes, you can add saddlebag speakers and they don't have to leak. If you're somebody that has problems with leaking saddlebags, we're gonna talk about that as well, because I'm gonna show you how to test your speakers, how to troubleshoot this problem, and give you some ideas on how you can correct your leaking saddlebag issue. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing that we want to talk about is this rubber seal on the inside of your saddlebag lid. And you should inspect this seal all the way around to make sure that there are no holes, tears, or cracks. You also want to, well, you want to make sure that it has one, but you also want to make sure that it's nice and soft, because that helps you get a nice seal around the lip of your saddlebag. And I'm going to show you why that's important in just a moment. With the saddlebag speaker, you're also going to have a wire, and somewhere that wire is going to have to go through the side of your saddlebag. And so you'd have had to drill a hole, and you need to make sure that this hole is watertight. And so you need to, like this one has a rubber, I guess a rubber grommet, and that keeps my saddlebag tight. But if I had water coming through here, you could add silicone around the side, on the inside and out, to help keep water out of your saddlebag. So this one is also very important. The next thing that we want to check is around the side to make sure that we have a good fit for our saddlebag speaker. And it should sit nice and flush against the saddlebag, and there should not be any large gaps that you can see. So you may want to look underneath here to ensure that there is a gasket, and that gasket is nice and tight between the speaker grill and your saddlebag. That's very important. But you also want to check your speaker housing to make sure that's nice and tight. Mine, I have 4 screws, and you want to make sure that they're nice and snug. You don't want to over tighten them because you don't want to strip the screw out and create a bigger problem. So just make sure that your mounting screws are nice and secured and tight. Okay, the next thing that you want to take a look at is the speaker itself. And you want to make sure that you have a marine grade speaker. So these Precision Power speakers that I have are marine grade. And the key difference between a marine grade speaker and maybe the speaker that you'd find in a car or in a home stereo is the cone. So the cone in a typical marine grade speaker is plastic. So water won't get through this. If this were some type of fiber or paper type material, like car audio and home stereo speakers, those will leak. So if you have that type of speaker, that's your problem, okay? The next test that we can do to confirm that we have a nice tight, watertight speaker, I'm gonna put a light inside of my saddlebag. I'm gonna turn it on, and I'm gonna turn the lights off in my garage. If you see any light coming through here, if light can come out, water can come in. So I'm hoping it'll be pitch black, but if there's light, that will give me a clue to the part of the speaker install that I'm having a problem with. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm gonna take my light, and oh my God, that's bright. And I'm just gonna set it inside of the saddlebag and close the lid. Next, I'm gonna turn the garage light off, and this video is gonna get dark, but we're still recording. All right, great. All right, so I have the lights off in the garage, and as you can see, so dark in here I can't see. All right, so I'm actually standing in front of the saddlebag and I've got my hand on the speaker and I'm looking for any light that's escaping and I can't see anything. It's pitch black and that's what you want. So there's no light coming out of there, so that's a good thing. So we'll go ahead and turn the lights back on in the garage. All right, so now that we've done that test, we've looked for any visual areas where there might be water seepage. Now we're going to do an actual test. We're going to take it outside. We're going to back the bike out of the garage and I'm going to hit it with a water hose and we're going to look for leaks inside of the saddlebag. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to run water along the edge to see if we can't get a leak. I'm also going to run water down the side to see if there's any water that can get in through the opening for the wire. All right, so hopefully, as you can see, there is some water that went inside of the speaker, in spite of the fact I tried not to get any in there. But when we open this up, a couple of drops of water will probably drip into the bag, and that's to be expected. But there shouldn't be any puddles in there. So let's take a look and see what we have. Ah, I have some water that's coming in through my grommet here. So I'm going to put I'm going to put a bead of silicone around the edge of this. Okay, so now we found a water leak, so this is good. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is completely fill up this speaker enclosure. We're going to just drown it with water to see what happens. Now, one thing that I want to show is how the water is trickling over the side here. Okay, so that water's running over the edge, and that, again, that's why that rubber gasket on the inside is so important. But let's put some more water in. I really want to flood this baby out. All right, I'm going to let that sit for a couple of minutes and see if any of the water can find its way in. But this is so full, there's still water coming out of the side, and that's where all these rubber gaskets around the edge, as well as the gasket that's underneath or that's on the speaker lid, as well as the rubber gasket that's on the saddlebag lid itself are so important. And you see the water running out here, and there was some coming out here a moment ago. But we'll let that sit for just a moment. Now, one of the nice things about the precision power unit that you get from Volunteer Audio, along with the installation kit, it comes with a attachment, or it's a template basically, and the template shows you exactly where to cut. So it's really hard to make a mistake. And you will see once I take this, actually remove the speaker, which I'm going to do in a moment, you'll see all of the rubber gaskets that are in place that help keep water out of your saddlebag. But right now we've got all that water in there. I'm going to shake the bike a little bit and really give that water a chance to find its way into my saddlebag. And my speaker is completely enclosed in water. You know, there's a lot of water in there, as you can see. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and open the lid. Again, you'll have water that's gonna flop over the side. There may be a couple of drops that go inside of the bag. That is to be expected. But let's see what we got. Nothing. And we did have a couple of drops of water that came around my the opening for the wire. So that's a good thing to find out, but my saddlebag is otherwise dry. This is gonna be an easy fix. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and remove my speaker and show you what the enclosure to the speaker looks like. We're gonna look at all the rubber gaskets that are in here and basically talk about what makes the Precision Power speaker watertight. I'm going to remove all 4 screws and disconnect the speaker wire so that I can take the speaker off. All right, well there it is. This is our speaker. So the key thing about this marine grade speaker, again, like I mentioned, is the material that the cone is made out of. And there's no water going to get through there. And the way this speaker is designed, it's watertight, so that's a good thing. So this mount is also held in place by 4 screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll go ahead and remove these 4 screws as well. Now on the inside of this speaker mount, there's a rubber gasket here. And as you can see, this is where I made my cut inside the speaker lid. So between this rubber gasket, the speaker lid, and this rubber gasket, that's what makes this system watertight. And if you're missing any of these gaskets, again, if there's any holes or tears, if it's hardened or anything like that, that is likely a cause of your water seepage problem. Now, something else you can do while you have the hole, you can also apply a bead of caulk or silicone when you reinstall the unit, and that will also further make your system watertight. But as you can see the way it fits, it provides a nice seal all the way around. So any water, once it's inside of the speaker, is contained in there as long as the speaker is a marine grade speaker, and there's no way for that water to get inside of your saddlebag just because of the way this is made. There's only one way for it to go, and that's up to the edge, and it's trapped right here. So that's what makes this system watertight. You have a rubber gasket here as well as one on the frame. All right, so now I'm just going to put this back together and then we'll wrap this video up. Now, if you've done all the tests, inspected your gaskets, and confirmed that the speaker wire that's coming inside of the saddlebag is watertight, everything is good, you have a marine grade speaker and you're still getting water, the last thing that will help you identify where the water's coming from could be your cell phone. So if you turn your camera on, put a light inside of the bag, close the bag, and then redo the water test. Hopefully that will enable you to see exactly where that water's coming from. Now, the last thing that I can tell you to help protect your saddlebag from water damage is a cover. So I ordered a saddlebag rain cover for my bike, not because I am worried about water getting into my saddlebags, but because water created the Grand Canyon. Prolonged exposure to water will damage anything. So if I'm parked, if I'm on the road and I'm parked at a hotel, my bike is outside exposed to the elements, if it's going to rain, I'm going to cover up my saddlebags just to protect it. There's no point in having water in there when I don't need it, even though I'm not worried about water going in through my speakers. So this is actually pretty watertight, and I'm very happy with it. Again, if you want to purchase the speaker mounting unit that I have here, contact Volunteer Audio and tell them that Q sent you from Riding and Wrenching, and they will hook you up and get you this exact same unit that you see here. Also, if you need some good speakers, contact Volunteer Audio as well. All right, and the last thing that I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to hook the bike up and give you one more sound sample and show you just how good this system sounds, and you'll get to hear this after all the water that we poured into it today so that you can hear how good it sounds. Okay, let's do it. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. I hope that helped you out and hope you found the solution that you're looking for to solve that leaking saddlebag problem. I know how much of a pain that can be. All right, actually, if you come up with any other ideas that can help people out to identify what's causing their saddlebags to leak, drop a comment in the comment section. I will bring it up on a future video and share it with the YouTube community. All right, this is your guy Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, and I am out.